Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. We will begin shortly, but first I will call each paper title so we can know whether the presenter have already present or not. Okay. First paper, the application of the Mura method in the decision support system development to determine students receiving school development assistance for junior high school. Is the author present? Miss Endang Lestari Ruskan or Siti Oktaria? Okay. And the second paper, Novrianti. Okay. The third paper, Sepdela. Okay. The fourth, Mr. And Mr. Ari Wedesmara. Not yet. Mr. Sela Rizka Farika Dairina. Present yet? No. Or Puri Lestari, Dana Isen Suse, Kausarina, Rian Randi Suryono. Anyone come? Nope.
Sela, sir.
Sela Rizka?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Ruth Christine Aprilia Sitomorang? Nope. Last, Mr. Masagus Afren Firdaus or Ismaudi Sanya Paradiba? Great. First, let me introduce myself. My name is Rahmat Izwan Heroza. I will be your moderator for this session. We have about 8 papers to be presented today. So, first paper, I will begin with according to the list of paper that's given to me. Okay, so you have about 25 minutes to present your paper, and it's already included with question and answer. It's also welcome if the other presenter or participant who wants to ask question to the presenter, you may allow to do so. Okay, let's start. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. First paper, the application of the Mura method in the decision support system development to determine students receiving school development assistance for junior high school will be presented by Ms. Siti Oktaria. Please, you can share your screen.
Yes. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Let me introduce myself. My name is Siti Larista Oktaria, and I am from Sriwijaya University. Today, I will present a paper about the application of the Mura method in the decision support system development to determine student receiving school development assistance for junior high school. And hopefully this will act as a springboard for this discussion. I'll be glad to answer an question at the end of my talk. Please hold your question until the end of my presentation.
Excuse me, there's a window that blocks the screen on the right side of the slide presentation. Maybe you can close the window. I believe it's a participant windows that block the.
Today, for contents introduction, research methodology, result, and conclusion. This introduction, junior high school is one of the school the routinely sports student by giving the school equipment annually. This assistance is specifically given to students who are considered to have economical disadvantage. Assistance provided by the school is in the form of school uniform, shoes, and stationery supply. In the process of assistance, each homeroom teacher prepares prospective student, then each homeroom teacher provides the student data to the school. With a large number of prospective students, the school has difficulty in prioritizing students who are eligible to reach assistance. The school assessment process was often carried out carelessly, hence benefits do not fit the target. Due to these problems, a computerized and database integrated decision support system is a need to assist the school in determining students who are entitled to get school equipment so that the distribution of aid is more on target. What is the decision support system? DSS is a computer system that helps in making decision by analyze and presenting information.
Siti Larissa, window partisipannya bisa di close aja karena ngalangin. Ya itu yang itu. Dipindahin ke atas mungkin karena di sini. Oke, great.
And presenting information. This way, DSS is automatically village operation and decision makers to make well-informed decision through an effective study of semi and illustrative variable in the external environment. Multi-objective optimization method by ratio analysis (MORA) has the ability to separate subjective parameters from the evaluation process into decision weight criteria. This method also has a good level of selective in complex calculation by optimizing two or more conflict attributes, where these criteria are valued for benefit and cost so that the results are more target, accurate, and easy to implement in decision making. The stakes of the multi-objective optimized based on ratio analysis MORA calculation are: 1. Enter a value from each criteria. We enter the value of each criteria first, where the value will be processed so that it becomes a decision. 2. Make a decision matrix. After we enter each criteria value, then the criteria of each alternative, we make a decision matrix as for the sample decision matrix as below. 3. Normalize the X matrix. The goal of this normalize is to unit every element in the matrix. 4. Calculate the value of optimization. If criteria for each alternative are not given a weak value. 2. If the criteria for each alternative are given a weighting value of importance, the assessment of weight value to each set of criteria has a provision that the value of the maximum criteria specific gravity benefit is greater than the value of the minimum criteria specific gravity at cost. 5. Ranking. The value for each alternative is obtained from the optimized value. This is a research methodology. The data collection method is used as follow. Interview is the author collection data by interviewing participants related to the problem that the author study. 2. Observation. After that the data was observed, understand, and analyze. 3. Literature review. The author also read, understand, and learn from reference, journal, internet, and books. This is calculation result Mora method. The one enter the value of each by definite criterion. This is table 1 criteria by type and weight. Now, description-nya parent dependence, get governance program assistance, parent status, parent earnings, parent jobs, and type 2 benefit and 3 cost. This weight 30, 25, 12, 15, and 10. This table 2 criteria for receiving government program assistance, not receiving assistance, and receive helps, KPS, PKH, and KIP. The information very important and quite important. Then value 10 and 30. This table 3 value of parent status criteria completed, motherless, fatherless, and orphan. This information very important, not important, urgent, and very important. The value 10, 30, 40, and 50. This table is this table 5 value of parent employment criteria, the civil servant, entrepreneur, private employee, traders, and frameworks. Then value 50, 40, 30, 20, and 10. This is table 5, very many data of prospective student receiver of school assistant. This is table 6, score of each criterion. To make a decision matrix, this is result. 3 normalize the X matrix. This is result is this. For calculate the optimization value. For ranking, Lisa is ranking 1, Imam Saputra ranking 2, Ramadan ranking 3, Rohida ranking 4, and Muhammad Lekat ranking 5. The conclusion, based on the reach and result of the discussion in the previous chapter, the author concludes that 1. The resulting system was developing a decision support system to determine students who receive school that will be used by junior high school using the multi-objective optimization based on action analysis MORA method. 2. This decision support system can help the junior high school to determine students who are receiving school assistance. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone who wants to ask about my paper?
Okay, great, thanks. Please, anyone who is there any question to the first paper? Okay, I have actually one question. How you define the importance of the criteria, such as in your previous table, there's one not so important, or there's another very important, and there's other important. How you decide the importance of the criteria? Bagaimana menentukan itu? Suara saya terdengar?
This is Ryan, Mr.
Yeah. Okay. So you define the importance by yourself by maybe you conduct the interview like that.
Sorry, my room is raining.
Okay. Okay,
Uh,
great. I think. Okay. Okay. I think we are understand enough. Very informative slide. I believe. Yes. Okay, thank you very much to Miss Siti Oktaria. Okay, next we will hear the second presentation with title of the paper, The Application of Service Quality Methods in Improving Customer Service Quality in the Field of Sales of Basic Needs Product. That will be presented by Ms. Nafrianti. Okay, time is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Okay, let me introduce myself. My name is Nofrianti. I'm from Computer Science Faculty of Sriwijaya University. Okay, everyone. In this presentation, we will discuss about the application of service quality methods in improving customer service quality in the field of sales of basic needs product. List presentation. Number one, in introduction, research methodology, result, conclusion. Every company, especially in the manufacturing industry, business world, or the service profession industry, is required to market products to create customer satisfaction. The key company success in the quality of the product and how the company provides the best service to customer according to their needs to feel satisfied with the product or service given. As is the case with company in the sale of stable product, it has a company that is committed to selling product and maintaining product quality. However, this company...
Miss Friantia, sorry, can you just zoom out or using slideshow because we can't see good enough, clear enough from the screen.
Sure.
Or if you have any difficulties, maybe you can hide the sidebar so it will have more space. Sidebarnya di close, jadi terlihat lebih besar. There's a cross sign in the left, I believe. You can just close di sebelah kiri, biar terlihat lebih lega. Nah ya itu di close. Okay, great.
Next, however, this company often get complaints from customer regarding service quality. The company expecting a system is currently still inefficient, such as customer who have to come directly to the company to submit complaints and suggestions. The resulting reports are not optimal because the company does not have an appropriate system in measuring service quality at the company. So that company have difficulty improving the quality of existing service. In order to solve the problems faced by company in the field of selling that basic needs product, a system is needed that can make it easier for the company to be able to improve service quality in submitting complaints or criticism and suggestions. Next, what is service quality? Service quality, which is a method used to define the quality of service by comparing how far the difference is between reality and expectation of the service customer receive from a company. With the service quality method, it can be seen that a level of service quality to customer can be measured through 5 dimensions of service quality. The advantage of the service quality method are to be able to find out the gap value of service quality from each attribute of the need. Then now to how customer expectation and satisfaction are for the service provided, and to know which attribute are the focus for further improvement. Next, system development method. The waterfall is a software development process in which the process is carried out sequentially, starting from the level of system requirements and then going to the analysis, design, coding, testing, or verification and maintenance stage. Each stage must be complete first before proceeding to the next stage in a structured manner according to development of the information system. In developing the waterfall method, it has several sequence stages. Okay, next, the stages of the waterfall method include number 1, requirement analysis and definition. Data and information are collected regarding the needs of the information system and user to be built. And number 2, system and software design. In the second stage, the author prepares a design for implementation that describes how a system is formed. 3, implementation and unit testing. This stage is the implementation of the design. Stage the program design is translated into codes using a predetermined programming language. The program that was will be tested immediately. And number 4, integration and system testing. This stage in the stage of unifying program units and then being tested as a whole. The process carried out at this stage is to carry out the process for installing and configuring the software, as well as testing the software in detail, starting from the user interface program, input to its menu function, its process, and the form of output products by the design software. And last, operation and maintenance. At this stage, it can operate the program in its environment and carry out maintenance such as adjustment and or change due to adaptation to the actual situation. The process carried out at this stage is to install and configure software in the company actual environment and conduct training for the company and how to use or operate software that has been designed for the company. Next, research methodology, data collection. In the research, the data collection method in use as follow. And number 1, interview. Conducting interview with the company in the marketing sector first to find out about ongoing problem regarding the company existing system in improving the service quality. Number 2, observation. After knowing the problem based on the company information, the writer can analyze the problem indicator and determine what is needed to develop a new system. Number 3, literature review. Next, determine the input, process, and output that will be applied to the software by the context of system development by studying literature studies, journal, paper, book, article, and other related. Next, experimental result. Example, table gap. Table 1, gap average value 5 based on question. Attribute statement, help weighted value, average expectation, and perception, weighted value, perception, mean, and score gap 5. The result obtained are the results that have been done with the implementation of service quality method in improving the quality of customer service. Its company in companies in the field of selling stable product resulting from this system development. There are 3 users in this system, including customer, marketing, employee, and leaders. Next, the bigger the gap resulting from a service calculation of gap of 5, the gap is below 0 or negative. The less that the service quality will be. Therefore, the priority improving the quality service is scored out from the biggest gap. Conversely, the smaller the gap is 0 or positive, the better the service quality. Example, table 2, the average value of the gap is based on 5 dimensions. The next stage is the design stage data flow diagram. Process modeling is described by data flow diagram. The idea which are follows. Number 1, questionnaire process, and this process is carried out by the customer. Where the customer first enter the invoice code that has been obtained from the marketing employee. Then the questionnaire pack form will appear that customer input the content of the questionnaire, input criticism and suggestion, and will get output in customer testimonial. And number 2, login. Login is a process to enter the customer service quality system. For the login process, it is only done by the leadership and employee if the verification results are following what the user has entered, then the new user can continue to the next process. Number 3, manage data. The process for managing data input by marketing employee in the part of managing dimensional data, managing question data, managing employee data, managing questionnaire data, and managing customer data. Number 4, calculation of service quality. The process for calculating service quality is that a marketing employee get output from the system in the form of computer data information report, namely report related to questionnaire respondent result from customer. Last 5, report. After the calculation process is carried out, the leader requests a report request to the system. The reports are in the form of questionnaire respondent reports, gap reports per question gap reports per dimension, and recommendation for making improvement. In example, recommendation. The recommendation were given to improve service quality. It was based on the question about 5 dimension quality for customer, which are then evaluated by the company to be improved. And last conclusion, the research on the application of service quality method then can measure service quality so that company in selling stable goods can find out customer perception and expectation regarding service to product sales. With the development of this system, it can provide recommendation to the company to improve customer service quality, which can be seen from the result of service calculation. The service quality calculation process final result will produce information about the sequence of question gaps and dimension gaps. This result can be used by company in the field of product sale of necessities to make improvement. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Okay, is there any question from participant? No? Okay, I have one. So, okay, you have Miss Refta. Please ask the question.
Okay, Novianti. The question, the give reason why you use the service quality method in this study.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
So the question is why you use the service quality method for the research. Is there anything? Yes, please.
Okay, I will to try answer a question from Rektor Saptela. Because the service quality method is the right method to use in measuring good service quality. Besides that, the service quality method can also provide a recommendation for company, and customer can provide criticism and suggestion for improvement through the calculation process obtained from the dimension of the question asked by the company.
Okay, thank you. The answer.
Okay.
Okay, I believe that answered the question. Thank you very much, Ms. Novrianti. Let's move to the next presentation for the third paper, the implementation of business intelligence to improve service quality at Dr. Rifai Abdullah Hospital Palembang, that will be presented by Ms. Refta Septela. Okay.
Yes.
Please.
Yeah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I want to present my paper entitled The Implementation of Business Intelligence Service Quality at Dr. Rifai Abdullah Hospital Palembang. Hospital of Dr. Rifai Abdullah Palembang is a hospital that provides the health service the community, especially in Palembang. Management of patient data at the Hospital of Dr. Rifai Abdullah Palembang use a same management information system hospital, but the hospital management has difficulty in making report of obtain the desired data to support decision making. Determination of the highest number of patient visits and diseases is still done by manual recapitulation. The data on largest number of sufferers and a large volume of diseases made the hospital experience difficult in recapitulation. Therefore, a solution that can be provided with accurate data processing as a basis for analysis and reporting is by designing a business intelligence application using OLAP, online analytical processing, with the initial process of carrying out an extract transform load or ETL using the help of Pentaho tool. The development of a BI model for hospital management carried out in this study is to utilize the business intelligence application for hospital data processing so that this application can be used by hospital in analyzing patient data, asset data, and measuring. For a successful implementation in the application of BI, it must pay attention to the technical resource and personnel required, thus making it easier for server management to make quick and accurate decisions in short time and improve the quality of existing servers. Next, what is business intelligence? Business intelligence, or BI, is the process of extracting operational data of an organization or company on collecting into a data warehouse. Then the data in the data warehouse is processed into various kinds of statistical analysis for process and data mining process to get trend or pattern from data. This is business intelligence element, or ETL, or extract, transform, load, data warehouse, OLAP, or online analytical processing, and data mining. Next, result method. In designing and implementing the business intelligence system development method, the business intelligence roadmap method used based on the business intelligence roadmap method above, there are 6 phases that must be carried out, namely, number 1, justification phase. The activities carried out included evaluating operational data, sources on operating procedure, identifying business problem and opportunities, determining business needs, and proposing business intelligence solution at Dr. Rpa Abdullah Hospital Palembang. Number 2, planning phase. At the planning phase, it divided into 2 main activities, including enterprise infrastructure and project planning. Number 3, business analysis phase. The business analysis phase focuses on business problem analysis and opportunities to gain a deep understanding of the business need for product solution. There were 4 main activities, such as project requirement definition, data analysis, application prototyping, metadata repository analysis. Number 4, design phase. After the business analysis phase, the next step was carried out the design process, where the design phase consists to 3 main activities, namely database design, extract, transform, load design, metadata repository design. Number 5, construction phase. After the design phase, the construction process is carried out, where at this phase were 4 main activities, namely extract, transform, load development, application development, metadata repository development, and data mining. Last, number 6, development phase. After passing the development phase, the next phase was the carried out the dissemination process, in which there were 2 main activities, namely implementation and release evaluation. Next, discussion. Number 1, justification phase. The first phase was done in the development business intelligence by analyzing existing problem on the running system. Some of the problem were the need for information that has not been met properly about patient, the lack of time efficiency in the process of information delivery, and complexity in the process of data processing and hospital policy making. In the existing analysis process, there were several things that must be met, such as the system is able to make detailed report in the form of summaries by displaying medical service report, able to display the process of movement of trend data in the form of medical service information, able to provide data analysis in form or clear and systematic report, and able to display pattern of data processing. Number 2, analyze the data was obtained from radiology and outpatient medical record data for 2016 and 2019. 2, implementation business intelligence technical infrastructure is needed as following: software with PHP programming language, SAMPP, MDX, web browser, Tomcat, Pentaho data integration, Pentaho report designer, Pentaho schema workbench, Pentaho mining, and Java. Hardware, CPU, monitor, mouse, keyboard, printer. Operating system with Windows 10, DBMS with MySQL. Number 3, business analysis phase. After making direct observation at the Dr. Rpa Abdullah Palembang Hospital Palembang, obtain the result of the desired information needs, such as a system capable of display monitoring result of medical service activities, the system being able to display analysis of disease diagnosis, action, type of payment, doctor conducting examination, patient address, PALE, type of examination, disease history, and clustering result at a certain period of time. Number 4, design phase. In the research conducted, the design of the database used Fog constellation schema as a dimensional model design schema. Fog constellation schema is a schema consisting of several Fog tables divided into several tables of interconnected dimensions. From this picture, it can see that there are 2 Fog tables, namely radiologist medical record Fog and outpatient medical record Fog. There are 11 dimensions, namely radiology patient dimension, outpatient dimension, diagnosis dimension, address dimension, doctor dimension, action dimension, payment dimension, conducting examination dimension, type of examination dimension, and time dimension. In this study, the data in extract and then saved into staging table. Data that has been extracted and cleaned using the data cleansing process in eliminate noise in the data. The next step was the transformation process to change the shape of the data is needed. This process is carried out with several transformation steps in catalog Pentaho data integration. From the above step, the transformation process was carried out into the business intelligence database that has been carried out so that the following result will be obtained. After all phases of ETL development have been carried out, then went to phase of making cubes on multidimensional data to create all of online analytical processing using schema workbench tools. After the process of making the workbench schema, the next step to build a website. The main page of the website was divided into two, namely admin and leader, in the accordance with the needs and responsibilities of user. With each display has been created. Next, visualization used in the form of graph and text on business intelligence website that have been created. Visualization use the form of graph and words. The format of the visualization described in the form of dashboard. With visualization in this form of graph can make it easier for leader to read information and make decisions for the future. On this graph page, you can monitor the overall representation of annual patient chart based on outpatient and radiology. The outpatient and radiology analysis page has the outpatient and radiology information from 2016 to 2019. At Dr. Rpa Hospital Palembang, this analysis page can find out the development of outpatient and radiology by using drill down and roll up techniques, so that this analysis process present a detail on each attribute and can seen in the summaries of the hierarchy, dimension, or specific for existing character. From the analysis for existing dimension, it can be known that the most diagnoses occur in 2016 to 2019. The most frequent action performed in the treatment of patient, the most frequently used payment of patient, doctor who perform frequent examination, addresses of patient who perform the most frequent treatment, the number of patient is poly, the type of examination that most, and the history of the most common disease occur. The next step was clustering using the KMBI method. The KMBI algorithm or partition around medoid or PAM with partitioning clustering to group an object into a group of cluster. The cluster representation of KMBI was the medoid. Medoid was an object from a set of objects that represent a cluster. This is the result of grouping data using KMBI method, which are grouping patient by age, gender, and disease. The results displayed on the business intelligence website were obtained from the clustering process carried out using RStudio tools. From the result of data grouping, obtain a pattern that can be divided into two clusters, cluster 1 and cluster 2, which can be done using RStudio. The method was obtained use a reference in decision-making process in the future. From the research that has been done, it was found to cluster that describe and diagnosis and history of the patient described based on age and sex. The two clusters obtained were cluster 1 and cluster 2. The detailed result of the mining process can be seen in image below. From the above experiment based on outpatient data and radiology at Dr. Rpa Hospital Palembang obtained the result of the sum of square errors, which experience the best disgrace at key equals 2. So for this study, the ideal number of cluster was key equals to and was used as the default cluster to determine the characteristics of existing data. Last conclusion. This research was conducted using operational data in field of patient medical service and radiology in 2016 and 2019 at Dr. Rpa Hospital Palembang in the design process of business intelligence using the BI roadmap method. In the data mining process, it products patient disease based on age, rank, and gender, which become new information at Dr. Rpa Hospital Palembang. How to manage medical service information can be used to help Dr. Rpa Abdullah Hospital Palembang in improving the quality of the patient and providing better health pattern to patient. The result obtained were in the form of data warehouse design that was used as an analysis to see increase and decrease number of patients, diagnosis, action, type of payment, and the most frequently served addresses. The result obtained consisted of data mining. New knowledge obtained from the data used, namely from radiology. Knowledge was obtained, namely is cluster 1 age less than equal 39 years, history of disease less than equal 154, while in cluster 2, age is greater than equals 39, history of disease greater than equals 154. Furthermore, outpatient care in cluster 1, patients were less than equal 54 years old, diagnosis less than equal 117, whereas is cluster 2, patients were greater than equal 54 years old and diagnosis greater than equal 117. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Dear authors, do you have any questions to the presented paper? Anyone? Yes, Miss Siti Oktaria. Okay.
I want to ask Repta Sabdela, what is clustering and why soul clustering? Hello?
Okay, thank you for question. What is clustering and why soul clustering? In this research data mining process using clustering. Clustering is a data mining process by grouping data without based on a specific data class in the same object class. The purpose of this data mining process is to produce grouping on objects similar to each other in group. Clustering is used because the data in a superface, there are no label or classes. So it takes a clustering process to determine the cluster because the number of clusters is not yet known. Thank you.
Okay, I hope that answered the question. Miss Siti Oktaria.
I want to ask a question. What results are obtained by applying business intelligence?
Okay, thank you. The question. What result of obtained by applying business intelligence? With the implementation of business intelligence system at Dr. Rpa Abdullah Hospital Palembang can provide convenience to hospital and leader to conduct monitoring process so that it can take policies appropriately and improve the quality of service to patient. In addition, by implementing the BI system can provide convenience to employees to conduct a thorough report-making process so as to facilitate their work. The report format used to suit your needs. The results are used the recommendation for hospital improving existing management service. Thank you.
Okay, I think the time is up, 20 minutes presentation. Thank you very much, Ms. Refta Septila.
You're welcome.
Okay, next we have Mr. Arif Budiman that will be present the fourth paper, Master Data Management, Critical Success Factor Evaluation using Dematel. Okay. Time is yours. You can share your screen. While waiting, Mr. Arif Budiman prepare. Do not have to take the break after this presentation, so we directly listen to the presentation of the next paper. Okay, so we can finish early. Thank you very much.
Okay, is it my presentation already visible to you guys?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all happy and healthy. It's an honor to be here with you today, and also feeling grateful for the chance to participate in second international conference, Information System, Computer Science and Engineering, ICONISCSE 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce myself. My name is Arif Budiman from Faculty of Computer Science, University of Indonesia. I would like to present my research, namely Master Data Management, Critical Success Factor Evaluation using Dematel, or Decision-Making Trial and Evaluation Laboratory Model. Case study is done in one of the government bank called Bank XYZ. I am the first author of this research, together with my colleague, Mr. Ahmad Nizar Hidayanto, also from Faculty of Computer Science, University of Indonesia. Here are the outline of my presentation, background of this research, problem statement, the methodology that is conducted in this research, result and discussion, conclusion, limitation in this research, and last is future work to expanding or continue this research. Here is the background. First, I want to quick brief what is master data and what is master data management. AOP in 2015 said master data are core business entities used by various applications across the company along with their associated metadata, attributes, connection, definitions, roles, and taxonomies. And Losin 29 said that master data management is a comprises set of data management best practices to help corporations, key stakeholders, and business clients with incorporating business application, information management, methods, and data management tools in an endeavor to improve and maintain clean, accurate, timely, and complete data across disparate application or disparate system. And based on interview to the expert of the Bank XYZ, this bank already implement master data management since 2016. And we hope the results of this research will improve the benefit of MDM implementation in Bank XYZ. And the challenges are, the repetitive data is a challenge for companies in terms of operations and efficiency. So in all types of business, the need for data consistency and coherence, accuracy, accessibility, and also uniqueness and searchable storage is crucial, especially in bank. And the key asset of financial organization is data collect from various banking system. and also from the third party, such as regulator. And as this data is generally scattered across various business units, various multiple applications, many enterprises want a single unified view of the scattered data that disparate of multiple applications for better functional, operational, and analytical capabilities. And also, this bank is moving toward digital transformation, and yet there are still so many legacy or old systems that help them to process their operation. The problem statement of this research is to gain benefit from successful MDM implementation. It depends on MDM critical success factor implementation. However, no study has evaluated the cost-effect relationship and finding that critical ones through a visual structural model, especially in developing countries like Indonesia. And we also believe that to be successful MDM, there are technical aspects and non-technical aspects, and these critical success factor is the key favorable to ensure the success of organization to reach his goal. So this critical success factor must be managed continuously and carefully. To resolve those challenges, we did research by using DEMATEL. Through DEMATEL, it can confirm the interdependency cause-effect relationships via matrix, and thanks to impact relation diagram. So we can get the critical success factor of a complex structural system. This is a quick brief about DEMATEL. The DEMATEL method not only illustrates the relationship between factors through matrix, but also find most important factors. The measurements we using the DEMATEL by the table scale of measurement on the right side of your screen. And then steps of DEMATEL, there are 5 steps. First, generate direct relation matrix. And then second, arranging average direct relation matrix. Third, normalize direct relation matrix. Arrange total relation matrix. Make causal diagram. Results of DEMATEL. And then results of DEMATEL will show that sum of each row and column can be obtained. In my paper, you can see that the result, if the R plus C is defined as the prominence, showing the degree of importance. And if R minus C defined as relations, which represents how much factor I contributes to the system. In the result sections, I will show you the results of the DEMATEL calculations. For this research, I conduct the methodology for the first phase is defining CSF by using qualitative method with done some literature review and a questionnaire to the expert. The second phase is rank the critical success factor using quantitative method using DEMATEL. And the final phase is looking the causal relationship, the critical success factor using quantitative method, also using the DEMATEL. Here are the more clear overview of research stages. The important stages in this research are compiling a critical success factor for MDM that adopt from previous research by David Losin, and then conducting an interview with 7 respondents, and then from the 7 respondents, the total relations matrix is compiled by doing calculations according to DEMATEL. Next stage of DEMATEL is normalizing the matrix. Then the matrix is calculated total relationship. Next, to make a reciprocal diagram, required the calculations of its column and rows. Expert approval of the results from matrix calculation of the total relationship, and find out about the new facts with management. Next, making reciprocal diagram generated based on the results of the matrix calculation relationship in total. So it can provide information to make recommendations, making conclusions and suggestions based on the results of withdrawal from data analysis, which answer the problem formulation and related to research objective. Data collection was carried out at one of the government banks. The company has been implementing MDM for about 5 years. The bank has a unit dedicated to enterprise data management. The questionnaire in this research was given to manager data steward division, senior auditors, 3 data analyst manager. Sorry, I didn't move the slide. Data collection was carried out to the 7 respondents, to the data steward division, senior auditors, 3 data analyst manager, vice president's IT developer, and vice president data governance. This questionnaire aimed to determine the degree of influence from a critical success factor with every other factors. Every questions in the questionnaire based on the factors that are agreed at the first interview stages. The process of filling out this questionnaire is done simultaneously by all the members. By their approval, we conclude there are 8 critical success factors in this research, namely CSF001, top management support, and then next, enterprise user engagement, data governance policy, metadata definition collaboration, data quality management, integrated data solution system or tools, security and scalability master data repository, and last, continual quality control. We share and ask the questionnaire through paper-based and also digital file. And here is the result and discussion of the method calculation for master data management critical success factor. Calculation results from R minus C are code relations, which represent the degrees contribution of factor E to the system. If R minus C is positive, it indicates that the factor are more likely to affect other factor. Meanwhile, if it's negative, it indicates that the factor tend to be influenced by other factor. In this table, data quality management show that has the highest prominence and the relation value is negative, which indicate this data quality management is influenced by other factor. And top management support, CSF001, has a positive relation value of 1.9, which shows that top management support most influence other factor. And also it ranks 5th for prominence. It is in line. Without support from management, it would be difficult to run all company activities. This also has the benefit of making other employees feel engaged. Other members also become agents of change who help convey benefits, things that need to be done. And these changes are in line with the company's target. There are filter components of the success of the governance and master data program. Furthermore, support and direction from management on the MDM project will be able to mobilize employee participation. In addition, the influence of the integrated data solution or system tools, CSF006, also has a degree positive relations, 0.3, which indicate this factor also influence other factor in the implementation of MDM, since the business process consumer recognize the necessity for comprehensive data visibility. The application must be revised to look for share information about core master. The degree of integrated data solution system or tools also rank 4 with a value of 12.6. So it is also showed that it is an important factor that must be concerned in the implementation of MDM. The technical aspect of master data management believe tools that support access control, cleansing, complex data analysis, data federation, data delivery, data profiling, and etc. It is important in MDM implementation because it is important to prepare data before it is shared and used by other application and used with data warehouse, used by business intelligence, and users with a clean and unduplicated general view of data. The data source goes through a series of cleansing steps and becomes the single source of truth. Once done, master data is ready to be shared with applications, data warehouse, BI, customer interactions with a generic view of clean and deduplicated data. Here is the conclusions of my research. There are 8 critical success factors. Result in this research to be prioritized in MDM implementation. And then 7 respondents consist from master data management division, user, IT division of company showed that data quality management is the most important factor with value 13.9. And then top management support has the greatest effect on the implementation of MDM, followed by integration data solution system or tools. By number 3, by understanding the relationship and importance or prominence factor to implement MDM, this can be resolved early on in the development. The success factors that have been identified are useful in preventing the occurrence of failure factors and the loss of related costs. Furthermore, other similar companies can use the result of this research in determining the top priority factors for MDM implementations. And the limitation in this research are, there are limitations associated with generalizing the results. For theoretical sampling, by definition, it is not possible to carry out a only single case study. Therefore, the paper findings should be triangulated with similar cases. The general characteristics of this bank are the size of the company, the industrial sector, and the multidivisional organization should be taken into account. In addition, the replication of the finding must take into account the special characteristic of MDM in this government bank, comparing between government bank versus private bank, such as corporate culture. Here is the final agenda, the future work. The result of this paper, research contribute to by widening the understanding of critical success factor of MDM. Considering that in this research, only investigation, identification, ranking of the factors affecting the evaluation of MDM. It is suggest the future research would be into development of an MDM evaluation model. In addition, it may be useful to observe how the type of organization affect the problem. For example, whether a multinational company faces a specific or general problem of additional or different MDM affecting due to different sectors and scales of the organization. That's all. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for all your attention. And finally, thank you for ICONISCSE committee, which allow us to present this research. Hopefully, this research could bring more value to computer science and also for enterprise academician all over the world, not only in Indonesia. And again, thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Arif Budiman. It's interesting article, yes. Any question for the other participants? Okay, actually I have a lot of several questions, but I will pick the most important one. You state that I believe that you state that there's the factors, the result of the approach is that there's factors that influence other factors.
Yes.
Right? Can you give us consequences for that? I mean, what is the importance to know that there are factors that influence by the other factors? Because I don't remember that you state it from your presentation. So why, if we know that top management support or integrated data solution system or tools influenced by other factors or influence the other factors, what's the importance for that knowledge? Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you for your question. These factors I get from the literature review and the previous study that state that top management support is one of the critical success factor in master data management implementations. And then I confirm and ask the approval from the experts in Bank XYZ to determine is it top management support include the critical success factor that can be implemented or related in this company. And they said yes. So and then by the mathematical calculation, with the degree of relations and prominence. Surprisingly, top management support is getting the first rank to as the factor that influence other factor. In this case, the top management support influenced the other seven factors. Let's say, and then it is by comparing to the previous work, it is in line. So I think the research is quite proven.
Okay, so the approach has not give a recommendation what to do to the those CSF. So I mean, is there any difference of treatment to be given to the CSF that have positive relation and the negative relation? There is no difference treatment from the approach, I think.
So I think it is the next step to implement this research, yeah, because this research only looking the causal relationships between other factors.
Just identify that this factor influenced by the other factors.
Yeah. Because I think for let's say the other factors that has positive values integrated to the solution system, maybe the treatment, of course the cost to develop the compatible integrated solution system, right? Yeah, I think. But for the top management support, I think
can we?
Yes. Sorry, pardon.
Yes, you can continue first.
Yeah, let's say the CSF006 integrated data solution system. I think the treatment, first things first, is the feasibility study, and then the development, and also the important thing is the value, money to develop, cost to develop. And for the top management support, I think the treatment related to educate or embedded the culture of the importance the master data management to the management. Let's say the management has to be aware or IT minded to see the importance of the master data management.
Okay. I think that's enough.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Okay, as I mentioned earlier, we will continue. Do you guys approve what I proposed just now? So I propose that we jump to the next presentation without having a break. Okay, I believe that Mr. Ari Wedasmara is already here. Mr. Ari, can we continue the presentation, or we have to take a break first?
Okay, I can present my presentation. That you delay.
Okay, great. Yes, there's a delay on my side. Okay, we will listen to the presentation of Mr. Ari Wedasmara's papers with title Derivation Citizen Engagement Model for Government Social Media. Okay, Mr. Ari, time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you to moderators. Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you to moderator. My name is Ari Wedasmara, one of UNSRI member and a student of UTM. Today I will present about the derivation citizen engagement model for government social media. This is my member, Ari Wedasmara, Sam Syuryadi, and Abdul Razak Jehusin. For the introduction, I have the introduction consists of 16 namely the user engagement involved with process regarding service, in order to support organization or related parties through the evaluating the final service, including documentation. And the user engagement also able to influence the image of business branding success through the user experience. And third, government and the citizen work together to design policies, produce information, and provide service has significant attract attention. And the fourth, a large number of use of government social media to get feedback from the public. And fifth, social media as a powerful tool for increasing civic engagement and political participation of users. And the last, there's still a limited research on citizen interaction on the use of social media by the government. So the last is very important for my research. So this research investigates the factors that increase the engagement on the government social media. As the background of the problem in this research, I have three, namely low engagement between the community and the governments, and then the benefits of using social media by the government, but not optimal in its use of the by the government. And the last previous research has focused more on branding than on government social media issue. From the background previously mentioned, I have two research questions emerge. The first, what are the factors that can promote the citizen engagement toward government social media? And the second, what is the citizen engagement model? On literature review, in this section, I review all the literature related to user involvement in government social media account through SLR or systematic literature review techniques, especially keyword in analyzing article. The literature review discussed is user engagement and then social media engagement models, governments, social media, citizens engagement, and the last systematic literature review or SLR. On the SLR or systematic literature review, I have a stage, not a complete stage, but this piece of the stage. The first is the guideline question in the literature review. First, what is the user engagement justification in order to know the context area of this domain? The second, what the factors that can maintain user engagement on social media? Justification in order to find factors of user engagement based on previous model theories. Third, what is government social media in order to know the second domain of this study. Fourth, what is citizen engagement? Justification in order to justify concept of user engagement in citizen engagement. The last, fifth, what are the factors that can influence citizen engagement with government portal? Justification in order to find factor with to use in developing the citizen engagement toward government social media model. And the inclusion and the excellence criteria for the SLR, inclusion criteria must be in full text and then published in the selected database. Third, English version or reference and domain of user engagement, social media engagement model, government institution, and government social media. For exclusion criteria, I have incomplete studies and not in English, a third duplicated study, and the fourth or the last, remove unrelated domain. And the data extraction, I have an extract data. I make a note for the first author, a title, author, the name of the author, title, the name of the paper, journal type, the name of the journal, issue, about the volume, page number, issue number, and methodology, quantitative, qualitative, or mixed method, and then context, the domain of the study, theory, adaptive theory, result or finding, the outcome of the research, limitation, weakness in the paper, recommendation, request for future research, and citation count, number of citation by another authors, and publication year or the year published. On the revision factor, we have 5 user engagement model, which become the model design theory for this study. The following is the 5 model design theory for developing citizens engagement model toward government social media accounts. The first is partner and external stakeholder engagement model. And second, user engagement model on brand page model. And third, stakeholders engagement model. And fourth, public post-crisis social media engagement behaviors. And the last reason, citizens participate on government social media accounts during crisis. From 5 articles, this study will select and combine several factors from the above model of user engagement as citizen engagement model for government socials. The selected factor justification first from the first journal or article journal. Justification refer to building partnership with study participant can lead to deeper insight knowledge of study content, adding richness and depth to the data. And the second articles, we find about the factors intensity, justification, refer to intensity, show the ability of the level of sophistication from adopt. And third, from the third article, I found about the channel, refer to channel when used as a platform to reach out more targeted user. And then factor 4 and 5, information seeking and social support seeking from the fourth article, refer to information seeking on social media as a significant coping behavior for reducing negative emotion and stress in times of crisis. Social support seeking refer to social support seeking is considered primary coping strategy on social media platform based on social relations. And the last motivation from the fifth article refer to the motivations influence the action to follow and participate among users. This is the recent implementation for each factors. First, partnership. Relate the study. The study needs to show the partnership relation in a democratic local government's country role toward the citizens. And 2 factors, the second factors, intensity. The study needs to propose a model which involves with the enhancement on the sophistication value of government social media adapts. Third factors, channel. The study uses social media platform as channel in engaging with citizens. Fourth factors, information seeking. This study needs the elements of action regarding citizens able to reduce their negative emotion toward government while provoke them to follow government social media in order to get close with government and get to know the government much more closer. Fifth factors, social support seeking. This study needs to implement of action regarding citizens to copy and share the posting from government social media on their personal social media site. The last motivation, the last factors, motivation. This study needs elements of catalyst in provoke the action of following and participating from citizens toward government social media. So this based on the factors that have been identified through the analysis of reference model. This is the citizen engagement model for government social media is proposed. Citizen engagement factor, partnership, intensity, channel, information seeking, social support seeking, and motivation become in the independent variable, and the government social media become the dependent variables. This is my conclusion. This study provides an overview of citizen engagement model in government social media through SLR process, where the focus on SLR is search strategy to find out all factors that make up the citizen engagement model for government social media, as well as to filter all unrelated article and short-term doubt related things. From the result of the SLR, we have 6 factors to lead the citizen involvement in government social media. And then the factor is in a partnership, intensity, channels, information seeking, and the motivation. So the next highlight of the citizen engagement focus on the government social media is the process of validation. And the next stage is data collection and the analysis to validate the models. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Pak Ari Wadasmara. Is there any question from the other participants? No? Okay, I have a question. If I am correct that you specialize the government in terms of, I mean, the governments in developing country, correct? Or it's a general country?
Okay. If I found from the article, I have not, because I think it's a differentiation from the development country or the modern country is, I think, not unrelated to the research, because I found about the not from the development or the modern country, but from the interaction. We have three interaction. First, we have participation, and then two, we have about the collaboration, and third, about the transaction. The maximal level of the transaction now is under investigate, because from the platform of media social media, only I heard about from the America, especially Instagram, that they will pilot test about the transaction features. I think it's about 1 year before, I think. So we not fond about the development country or a modern country, but we have from the interaction, form of the interaction.
Okay, so you think that the model will try to generalize in spite of the government style in terms of interaction to the society, or in terms of what is it, the culture, or yeah, I mean the model can input or can use the anything government style, so it will what is it, try to menyesuaikan the government style, so it can be used to all of the government style in the world.
I think it can, because my model is not depend on the form of the country, monarchy or a republic. Okay. This is about the interaction. Yes, interaction.
So it doesn't see that as a factors of.
But we have another font about the foresight in the government social media, that culture is become one factor to make a platform can change.
Okay,
like in China. In China, they use WeChat and Weibo. Okay, you know about Ang Pao? Ang Pao. They use in the WeChat. Just one features. Just have two platforms, Weibo and WeChat. The difference is WeChat from the application, just all application, but the Weibo from the information media. So I think culture is one of the become the change of platform, because as before it's very difficult to say, but my research is very lab to models. I found just two models. Two models. But in the factors, I have many find about the factors. But models are very difficult to find.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Mr. Ariwadasnara. Okay, for next we have Ms. Sela Rizka that will present the paper with title Customer Intention to Utilize Mobile Apps for Everyday Consuming Goods Compliance in COVID-19 Pandemic Period. Okay, time is yours. I'm sorry, but I think that you still have not unmute yourself, Ms. Sela Rizka.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's such an honor to meet you here in this wonderful occasion. And in this opportunity, I would like to present our paper related to mobile apps utilization in the pandemic period. Let me introduce myself. My name is Sela Rizka Farikaderina, as the author of this paper, along with my colleagues from University of Indonesia. For the outline of the presentation, it will be divided into introduction section, literature review, and the conclusion. In the first section, for the introduction, COVID-19 pandemic that are still occurring in many countries in the world, including Indonesia, have affected our daily lives, most of our daily life and activities. This study was conducted in the early period of the pandemic when the first policy regarding the situation came out. Technology, especially mobile applications, are very prominent during the pandemic because the services that are provided by the mobile apps enabling people to shop for different needs, such as buying food, goods, and medicines. The most popular mobile apps companies for buying fast-moving consumer goods and delivery service in Indonesia, such as Grab and Gojek, generally have other services integrated into their mobile apps. Unfortunately, these other services were restricted during the pandemic following the government's physical distancing policy. Customers who previously used mobile apps mostly for transportation purpose were limited to daily need fulfillment purpose only. We can highlight that following the government policy regarding the pandemic situation, the most popular mobile app service for transportation purpose in Indonesia, Grab and Gojek, were restricted to ordering food and delivery service only. And the service that allow in pandemic period related to food ordering, food and grocery shopping, and delivery service. And for the transportation, at the current time when this research was conducted, is not allowed. The existing user of the mobile apps may already know about these other service values and their benefits. Maybe user who use Gojek already use it for ordering food before, but some psychological effect on people may affect their intention to use the service since it needs physical contact with various merchants and partners. And when the first information came out, media always talk about COVID-19 information, and it may fear many people and affect their intention. So aside from its value, how the risk factors perceived by the mobile apps user in the pandemic period can affect their intention to use the mobile app service. This study especially examined the horizon of user perceived risk due to the circumstances and how it impacts the user's intention to use the services. For the model development, the study model based on three theories, respectively, term, perceived risk, and perceived value. Perceived value is defined as an evaluation of overall usefulness, which measured by the benefit felt by the user compared to the sacrifice that should be made. And for the term factor chosen for this study, because term understanding the user attitude towards the technology is the most common and widely accepted theory. The attitude variable owned by the term become the determinant that distinguishes it from other models. Risk perception is a negative perception as the consequence of shopping for products and services online. Some risk perception of purchasing goods through e-commerce can be in the form of risk of time loss, product risk, financial risk, psychological risk, and security risk. Here is the model developed from previous theory with each respective hypothesis. So I expand in the perceived value, time factors, and the perceived risk. And its respective hypothesis developed can be seen in the figure presents. There are 8 hypotheses, which was for the effect from each construct to the attitude construct and intention, and most likely for the negative effect from the risk perception, including psychological, time, and financial risk. For the methods, for the instrument development, this research was began with conducting a literature review from the previous studies, and we hope that we can build a model that was simple, have a really good basic and strong model, but fit the condition that is occurring or happening. After the questionnaire was built, a readability test was carried out to 10 mobile apps user. Each questionnaires item will be measured using a 5-point Likert scale. So after the readability test, a minor revision was conducted to the item instrument, and it was used for the real data collection. For the sampling and data collection, the population of this study is the users of Grab and Gojek. The questionnaire were distributed using social media such as Instagram, WhatsApp, Line, and Facebook. And we collect about 306 response, where the 256 valid response were analyzed in SMPLS methods. Participants came from various cities in Indonesia, specifically cities in the red zone area of the pandemic. And here is the result from the demographic of the respondent. We can see the category for the gender, age, highest education, and domicile city. We can see from the table that all of the participants come from the red zone area of pandemic, such as Jakarta, Surabaya, and Solo. Next is conducting the SMPLS methods, which is divided by measurement model And for the measurement model, this is for the first step is by seeing an outer loading, and I will briefly describe the outcomes of this measurement, and in this which is based on the rule of thumb by Hare et al. The first is the item outer loading, which must be higher than 0.7, and all the items that are below the rule of thumb will be excluded from the model. Next is the Cronbach alpha, Rpa and Composite Reliability, and the minimum for its construct is 0.7 or above, and Rpa is 0.5. And the result for the latent variable correlation, that the square root of Rpa is higher than the latent variable correlation. And next is cross-loading. This is the output of the cross-loading that already meet the rule of thumbs. The measurement model before was briefly described, so we can move to the structural model result. Here is the result and the significance of each construct. We can see from the 8 hypotheses proposed that only 5 hypotheses were supported and 3 others are rejected. The structural model output can be seen in the figure 2, along with the R square for attitude and intention to use. Next to the discussion, there is a positive and significance effect from perceived value to attitude, and there is a mediation effect. It implies that the value user can feel from the apps can increase their positive impression, which was can be marked by attitude towards the apps. The majority of users agree that service provided by these mobile apps are in accordance with the cost, effort, sacrifice they incur. Next is the perceived usefulness to attitude. The accepted hypothesis implies that users consider the apps very useful for ordering food and daily goods in the pandemic area. And the next is perceived ease of use. The perceived ease of use also proved to be a significant factor to increase the customer attitudes towards mobile apps. The study gained insight that application simplicity is important to the user. By providing user-friendly apps can permanently increase positive feelings towards mobile apps. Next is attitude to intention. The positive feelings that users have about the application can increase their intention to use the application. Because we are highlighting the risk perception in this research, I will elaborate more in this construct. Other key findings from this research are no negative effects from perceived time, psychological, and financial risk towards attitude. The cost of service for ordering goods may be below the average cost of transportation users used to spend on mobile apps. So the majority of the users, which is the younger generation, didn't think that ordering from mobile apps was a waste of money. Then for the time risk, the customers tend to have a lot of spare time and didn't rush to do anything. So customers consider browsing and ordering goods from mobile apps as ordinary activities and not afraid of losing time, such as a lot of space of time. For the psychological risk, the unsupported hypothesis may be caused by the company's assurance that the product or food is delivered using COVID-19 health and hygiene protocol. Users nowadays are well informed regarding COVID-19 transmission prevention, and they may assume that the company's partner can work professionally during the pandemic. So this risk is not significantly affect their attitude or feelings or give negative feelings even if the situation of the pandemic. Next to the conclusion. First, risk factors didn't have a huge contribution on reducing customer attitudes and the intention to use mobile apps. Maintain a mobile feature to be seamless and give valuable service, especially during the pandemic. Even if perceived show an insignificant effect in the study, the company still needs to pay attention to the risk factor and keep making assurance for the service quality in the pandemic period so that risk factors won't reduce customer willingness to utilize mobile apps in the future. For the study limitation, the study can explain the level of severity that affects people in different demographic areas. As you know, Indonesia is a very huge country. And this study focused only on mobile apps for buying fast-moving consumer goods and delivery service. And the last limitation is only get response from popular mobile apps, respectively Grab and Gojek. The future will include this accommodating factor, how the people's perception is distinctly based on the city they live in, and whether people live in the epicenter of virus transmission, such as capital city like Jakarta, will be different from the people living in small city. The future work may enhance the study object with a more comprehensive prediction model, a more comprehensive risk factors, and other relevant constructs. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Lariska. Any question from the other participants? Yes, Mr. Arif Budiman, please.
Okay, a very interesting topic, Ms. Sela. I want to ask related to this application to do the in your research. This is using application to buy consuming good. But I want to ask about how do you done the data collection procedure to collect the response from the Solo, Jogja, and Jakarta, and spreading their education and ages. Okay.
Yeah, as I have mentioned before, I have used some social media, social network, of course, and there is you know, in Indonesia we call it jargon, maybe like ask for my friends to share it to their families or to their colleagues, and it's spread out quite fast, and especially on some social media it's not quite hard to find this response.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Stella.
Okay, thank you very much. I have a question actually. Do you think that the reason the last hypothesis that is not supported is influenced by the first hypothesis? So actually they think that they do not have risk because they think the value that they perceive is bigger than the risk. Do you think your research can conclude that?
I think in some aspect yes, and some is no, because when we talk about the values before the pandemic occur or happening, we already. I am as the user of the Gojek and Grab myself think that it is valuable. The service given is valuable, and for the perceived risk, it may be very depends on the person, because some people may feel fear and some people may fear not, and it's not related to their perception of the value.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Ms. Elarista. Okay, next we will have Miss Ruth Christine Aprilia Situmorang that will present the paper with title Information Security Risk Assessment with Octave Allegro Method on Academic Information System of Sriwijaya University. Time is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Ruth Christine Aprilia Situmorang, and my team, Mrs. Dwi Rosa Indah. I want to present you about information security risk assessment with Octave Allegro Method on Academic Information System, or CIMAC of Sriwijaya University. Since 1999, UNSRI started to utilize ICT, or Information, Communication and Technology, to help the education administration process. Under UNSRI ICT team, UNSRI started to build the web-based academic information system called CIMAC. For educational institutions, everything about academic is important. Academic has data and information to support the administration. Each data belongs to someone, and of course, it has a privacy value. Because data and information of someone is valuable for them to support their life in every aspect. That's why data and information must be secured. There are many possibilities for unwanted errors in the system that can disrupt the administration and business processes. Moreover, CIMAC UNSRI was accessible by the ICT division UNSRI and used by lecturers and students. It makes the system easy to access, but that can backfire because malware can easily break the system. That's not just can slow down the work of systems, but can cause data to spoil, lose, and leak. To reduce the errors, the organization needs to identify the risk and threats from that errors. So organizations can learn how to anticipate the problems. It was how we managing risk. The first thing to manage risk is to do a risk assessment. In this research, authors use Octave Allegro method. This method's main focus is on the information asset, to know how they used, where they stored, transported, processed, and how their conditions, if threatened, vulnerable, and distracted. Authors have 5 stages for this research methodology. Stage 1 is planning. Stage 1 is planning. There is 3 activities in this stage. First is create a research background. Second, determine the objectives, benefits, and scope of research. And the third, determine the research steps and data required. And then stage 2 is data collection. In this stage, we collect data according to the techniques and determine the primary and secondary data. Stage 3 is data analyzing and processing. There is perform an analysis of security risk management to the academic information system, following the steps in the Octave Allegro method, and perform a descriptive analysis. On stage 4 is report writing. We write and compile reports based on the documentation that we made and also with the results of the analysis. And stage 5 is documentation. To make a documentation for all stages of research from start to finish. For the result and discussion, we start to the stage 3 in data analyzing and processing. Think in risk assessment with Octave Allegro method is to establish risk measurement criteria. In this step, there are 5 impact areas defined according to the needs of the organization. The 5 impact areas consist of data integrity, customer reputation and trust, productivity, fines and legal sanctions, and safety and health. An explanation of the qualitative values for each impact area will be determined based on the magnitude of the impact of the possible risk, low, moderate, or high. Here's one example in the area of impact assessment, reputation, and customer confidence. In the low stage, reputation is not affected, no effort is required to recover. On medium stage, reputation is not affected, no effort is required to recover. And in high stage, reputation among staff is getting worse at 30% change. ICT division staff is in the teaching staffs, lecturers, and students get worse with a percentage change of 20%. The effort is required to recover. Next, the 5 impact areas then ranked on a priority scale and produced as shown in the worksheet 7. On data integrity, we have 5, and reputation and customer confidence 4, and productivity 3, fines and legal penalties 2, and safety and health 1. Next step on Octave Allegro method is to develop information asset profile. After identifying all information assets, the next step is developing an information asset profile. The first activity undertaken is to list the information assets contained in CMAP. Based on the database, there are 5 information assets, includes student data, lecturer data, subject data, classroom data, transcript data, and transcript data. Next, from all these assets, we must choose which are critical assets for the organization. According to the interview results with the head of ICT division in UNSRI, all information assets, any data are necessary and critical for the organization. And after that, all the information assets entered into the asset profile worksheet as shown in Allegro worksheet 8. This is the example of information asset profile for asset student data. In this worksheet, there's a critical asset, name, student data, why is choose to be the critical asset, because students are the key user of CMAP. Students' role is very significant in all UNSRI academic processes. So if student data is exposed and threatened, it will have an impact on the institution's academic flow. And the description of student data, this data contains information about students such as name, study program, and student personal data. The owner of this data is UNSRI and head of ICT division UNSRI. The security requirements includes in CIA, confidentiality, information relating to student data is private. Only users who have access rights, such as students, department admins, the head of UPT or ICT, and academic admins can access the information. As a student supervisor, lecturers can access the students' data with specific provisions. And integrity value, only students are allowed to change or modify existing data in student data. And availability value, this information must be available to students 24 hours per day because it relates to access to the SMAC application in ICT division. The most important security requirement is integrity. Next step is identify information asset containers. The information asset container is a container where information assets are stored, processed, or transferred, both technological and non-technology. The example is in the Allegro worksheet 9A. Sorry for the connection.
Yes, please continue.
The third stage is identify information asset containers. Asset containers is a container where information assets are stored, processed, or transferred, both technically.
Okay, we wait for a moment. Or I would like to continue first to the next presenter, and then we will be going back to listen to this presentation. Is it okay, Miss Rismaudi? Can we continue to your turn now? Okay. Yes. You can start. Oh, first I will introduce Ms. Rismaudi Sania Parediba will present the paper with title Implementation of Knowledge Management to Support the Knowledge Sharing for Rural Community Empowerment Program during the COVID-19 pandemic. Okay, thanks, yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to present our research. Let me introduce myself. My name is Rismaudi Sania Paradiba. I'm from the Information Department, Sriwijaya University. Okay, I will present research about implementation of knowledge management to support the knowledge sharing for rural community empowerment program during the COVID-19 pandemic. As we know, the COVID-19 pandemic since the beginning of 2020 has had a profound impact on various fields in the world. Based on our work in data, the total cases that have occurred in the world have reached 82 million cases spread throughout the country. So the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has also reached our communities and the smallest areas of the country, namely a village. The Ministry of Village Development of Disadvantaged Areas and Transmigration carry out village development concerning the Village Sustainable Development Goals, or SDG, to gain relevance, namely preparing total village development, conceptualization, policy, and institutional support, as well as detailed data collection with the village. The COVID-19 pandemic, there are obstacles to achieve this goal, including training programs, provisioning, and face-to-face mentoring, which are difficult to carry out. Moreover, the use of manual supporting documents and making reports in hard copy form is quite risky for virus transmission. And the partnership becomes mandatory by implementing and revitalizing village partnerships to achieve the village development goals, because village development will not succeed without the involvement of parties, starting from community leaders, self-driving village, women driving the village economy, university experts, business owners, supra-village, particularly village official and the village consultative body. But to share knowledge using a knowledge management system can be a new way, because it can involve partnership of various parties, a case study-based learning process, and the use of information technology to support the achievement of the village SDG. Knowledge sharing using a knowledge management system has been carried out in various fields, including the fields of education, government, health, tourism, religion, and the village granary management. Therefore, during pandemic COVID-19, knowledge management system can be a forum to sharing knowledge, documenting and managing knowledge so that it is stable by all village development partners and village officials. The knowledge sharing feature as a tool to help share knowledge can be supported through a search feature with the string matching method with algorithm method biomer algorithm to search for a string consisting of several characters in the document, so that all users can easily find documented knowledge based on the enter keyword. The algorithm will help to search for string into the text of the document more effectively, making it easier for the user to search for knowledge even in a larger size, and can streamline the time used. Next is methodology. In this method, there are 4 phases, each of which has several steps. The first phase is infrastructure evaluation. The second phase is knowledge management analysis, design and development. The third phase is development, and the last phase is evaluation. Result and discussion. The result of this research is a web-based knowledge management system, or KMS. Users who have the right to access this KMS are village government official or partners, employees, validator, administrator, and the head of the village government office. In this KMS, there are features of knowledge capture, knowledge discovery, and knowledge sharing. And the knowledge capture is a feature for uploading tacit knowledge. Knowledge discovery is a feature for uploading explicit knowledge as PDF or Microsoft Word file. And then knowledge sharing is a feature for searching for knowledge, for tacit knowledge or explicit knowledge. There is knowledge sharing solution to support rural community empowerment activities. The first activity is counseling. Counseling has obstacles. Face-to-face activities are hard to implement, but participants restrict the strict application of health protocols. And the knowledge sharing solution is distributing counseling materials, explicit knowledge through KMS, and share tips and counseling experience or tacit knowledge through KMS. The section activities is training. Obstacle is the number of training is strict. The training mechanism has no specific instruction. Then the knowledge sharing solution is access training material through KMS and distributing the briefing material through KMS. The fourth activities of rural community empowerment is assistance. Have obstacle face-to-face activities are hard to implement. Participant strict application of health protocol, and the knowledge sharing solution is discussion from forum through KMS. Number 5 activities is use of print guidebook. Book can be an intermediary for the spread of virus. So the knowledge sharing solution is share digital books in the form of explicit knowledge on KMS. Number 6 is search for knowledge. This is how to access reference in physical form in the village. Access via search engine often gets less relevant in knowledge. So the knowledge sharing solution is knowledge can be searched by keywords, both in the document and available knowledge databases. Number 7 is problem solving. Consultation with the expert is difficult to be done, and knowledge sharing solution is the solution used to solve children problem based on analogies or past knowledge associated. The last is preparation of physical reports. The obstacle is physical reports can mediate the spread of the virus. So the knowledge sharing solution is history of training, provision, mentoring, and reference books have been recorded in KMS. Okay, based on the table, modeling of user and activities carried out using the use case diagram is shown in picture. In the use case diagram, the village official, community leader, village consultative body, the women driving village economy, youth driving village, business owners, university experts, and supra village are depicted as actors who are associated with counseling, training, mentoring, debriefing for assistant team, knowledge searching, problem solving, and preparing report activities are described as use case associated with these actors. Okay, next is conclusion. The management system optimized partnership between the village official, community leader, village consultative body, the women driving village economy, youth driving village business owners, university experts, and supra village by supporting the knowledge sharing for all parties for rural community empowerment program during the COVID-19 pandemic. Then knowledge sharing features cover counseling, training, mentoring, debriefing for assistant team, searching knowledge, solving problems, and preparing report activities. Number 3 is the knowledge management system has passed the test using black-box testing. All tests were carried out indicating success, which means the software meets the software requirement defined in the software analysis and design phase. And the last is the knowledge sharing feature using a stream matching method with biomod algorithm has afforded to generate success and accurate search results and according to the answer keywords. So I think that's all from me. If you have a question, feel free to ask from the chat feature.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there any question from the participant? If there is no any question, I think it's also enough for me. Thank you very much, Ms. Rismaudi. Okay, we will continue the presentation by Ms. Ruth. Ms. Ruth, can we continue the last presentation that you missed just now? Or you still have any issues? Okay, please. Maybe you can just continue from the last slide.
Okay.
Sorry, I cannot share screen.
Oh. Okay, Miss Maudi, please close the share screen first. Or okay. Miss Ruth, can you share your screen now? Okay, great. That's it. Okay.
Okay. I will continue to the conclusion of my paper. So, from this research, there are 64 possible threats and vulnerabilities. Includes of 14 for student data, 14 for lecturer data, 12 for each of course data, classroom data, and transcript data. The second conclusion is the threat with the highest relative risk score is a security gap in the CMAC application by internal and external parties. The ICT division staff can enter the virus or malicious code with a score of 36, while one of the lowest relative scores with a score of 14 is students forgetting or mistyping a new password when changing the CMAC account password. And the last is 10 risk in pool 2 must mitigate or divert, and 54 risk in pool 3 must divert or accept. Thank you. That's all my presentation today. There is any question?
Okay, thank you very much, Ms. Ruth. Dear participant, if you have any question, this is the last chance, because this is the last papers that will be presented today. Anyone? Anything? No? Okay, I think that's for today. Thank you very much, Ms. Ruth. And also, thank you very much, dear authors and participants. I would like to remind you that we still have a second day of the event tomorrow that will have two keynote speech from Dr. Wahyu. He is from the University of Brunei Darussalam, and also from Ms. Samsuryadi. He is from University of Sriwijaya. Okay, thank you very much. I'm your moderator, Rahmat Izwan Heroza. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.
Wait a second. Do we need a photo session for this? Satu dokumentasi foto nggak? Okay, please. If you don't mind, please turn on your camera so we can screenshot your attendance. Okay. Tolong di itu ya, dibantu ya. Okay. I will have my second face right here. Okay, I will count from 3 to 1. Screenshot. Okay. Again, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Okay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. See you tomorrow. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.